You start the recording. Hi, good evening to all. Let's start a new chapter in our training capsule. So this is kind of project management we are moving on. We had understood the business analysis process, policies, the tools, and how we basically achieve the business analyst in terms of getting the requirement, understanding the requirement life cycle, how we collect the requirements, and minutes of meeting. How do you conceptualize the solution, be it a use case, be it a high level diagram, be it a SWOT diagram, fishbone diagram. There are different types of a way of mentioning decision analysis as well. So we learned all those things, right? Now let's move to the next step called project management. This is really a kind of art rather than science, but still, as a we evolve as a human, we do try to apply some templarization, standardization across the industry, and that's what we're going to learn to start with. How do you manage a project? It's a really big stuff. This normally takes the maximum time of our understanding, discussions, and so on and so forth. And believe me, even during the interviews, the project management is the most asked have the most asked questions, or most validated thought process in terms of, as a person, how do you manage a project, how do you manage a product development, how do you manage a service development, how do you manage uh, a solution development, and mix and match of these things. And that's what we're going to learn, that's what we're going to understand in a successive manner, right? So yes, come on, let me start the presentation. I don't know, this Zoom bar gives me sometimes jitters. Okay. So yes, business analyst, we are moved to project management. In the meantime, we might we might have a session from esteemed Prerna madam about how to what do you mean by agile, what do you mean by agile, scrum, and all those thought process, so that we can implement these management templatization, standardization within our project management policies and processes. Okay, and then these are our trainers. These are our normal slide. That's me, Ravindra Pandey. We have Prerna madam also working with us. I believe you know all these things. So let me move on. Now let's try to understand how do you define a project, right? Now we'll analyze this short definition. Before that, does anybody have any questions for me? Do you want to start the camera? I'm fine with that as well. If you want to, let me. My camera is working. No problem there. So does anybody have any questions? I believe I think
No,
Chandni
sir.
ma'am have a question on basically the business analysis workshop what we've thought of, right? So there we can choose our subject. Normally we do discuss on these attendance management systems, right? So enhancing attendance management system is our project. You can utilize that one, or you can choose whatever you like. There were projects like healthcare Android app. There were projects like school digitization type of project. Depending upon these things, you might present your hands-on workshop whenever you are ready. Just let me know, and we'll have that session during these sessions as well. So please don't stop yourself. Okay.
Sure.
uh,
Thank you.
no problem, ma'am. No problem. And anything you can just ask me during session. Normally, what I do, I normally prepare before the session, so I really couldn't, pick up calls. I normally get up around an hour before. I'll have my tea and morning rituals, and then I normally study. So this is not the right time to talk or speak. Please pardon me. I couldn't take your call.
Yes. No
Okay.
worries, sir. I understand.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Now let's get started. Okay, I'll just close the video. If you want to start video, I'm fine with that. Only thing is that I'm in India, and sometimes the network might not be that efficient to handle video. This thing. That's why I prefer to keep it off. But nothing like I'm not worried about my looks, or the way I do hand gestures and all those things. I keep doing that even if the camera is off. So that's how I am basically. And that's how I normally we keep trying discussing these really great topics. Project management is one of my dearest topics, and I'm giving sessions on project management since 2004 onwards. I'm member of the PMI PMP group Mumbai. I was a kind of elected member as well, but now I'm just a kind of active member. I'm an active member of even Agile Alliance. I'm an active member of Indian Agile consortium as well. So I do participate on various these lectures, understanding difficult topics, how we can basically improve our management day by day. And management is a life skill rather than when you look at these project management in terms of development of an IT solution, development of a product, be it a smartphone, a car, or even NASA, rocket launcher, and so on and so forth. But still, it's a really great to learn and understand others' views and incorporate these processes to make your life easy, to make your life better day by day. Okay, now let's start with defining a project. We normally go and understanding each of these things, and then we'll move on to defining how we apply these best evolved practices cost knowledge management in terms of PMI's standardized PM book. Okay, so a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create unique product, service, or result. So project you normally isn't temporary endeavor. What do you mean by temporary? It has a specific end in sight. Unless you have the end in sight, you can't have continuous process going on and on and on and keep consuming resources. No, here we are looking for a definite work to be ended at a certain date. You can decide the date depending upon the length and breadth of the project. A project can be completed within a few days, within a few months, within a few weeks, within a few years. Again, depending upon whatever you choose, whatever you basically decided to apply. Then, undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. What does it mean that every project should create a unique result? Be it a continuous manufacturing process, but still you can try you can create a project out of continuous manufacturing processes. Like my project objective is to achieve 300 cars per month to be created and given to the distributor to sell them. So this can be a project. My project can be enhancing attendance management system, which might have a good number of other projects in between also. So in enhancing attendance management system, we have a project of, let's say, uh, requirement gathering. We have a project of implementing biometric. We have a project of developing a software which is kind of deployed on a cloud as a solution connected to all these integrated biometric or ID scanner, whatever you've chosen to apply, right? And then we keep building this project till the overall there's no requirement as such to be waiting to be completed. So we progressively build these things like solutions, services, results as well. Does that make sense? Anybody have any confusion? Are we good? Could you understand what is a project? Hello, could you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Is it simple enough to understand the definition of a project?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, thank you. Let's move on. So we understood temporary endeavor. The temporary endeavor verbose suggests that you have to have that end in sight, clear goal in sight. Okay. Otherwise, the project is not a project. It's just you're doing some work. So some work might be categorized as a project when it's a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. A result like a continuous process. I need to complete so much production within so much time. So I have given a temporary endeavor to it, an end to it, and a specific objective which is finite. I can't go on saying "Ki I'm a manufacturing cars and that's my project." No, you have to have a specific end in sight, a clear result in your mind, clear objective in your mind. A product can be either component of another item or an enhancement, correction to an item, or a new item itself. So you can keep manufacturing something like 500 cars in the month of April 23, and that can be my project as well. Or in a pen manufacturing, I need to manufacture uh, 1500 pens within the next week, and this can be a project. So I'll basically apply all my resources to complete that project, whatever I have decided, whatever I have inside. A service, a capability to perform service. A service in the sense I might serve a water in the drought faced region. So I'll carry some tanker and I'll supply water to them because they are really short of water and all those things. This can be a service. Again, the project can be utilized for a brand creation, my satisfaction, or for a revenue, depending upon service, product, project, solution. Whatever you're trying to create has to have certain end inside and certain what you can say a business value getting out of it. It can be something like brand value increase, it can be something like my personal satisfaction of devotion and all those things. Result, a unique product and outcome, or a document as well. In terms of research project, we normally create a document based on our different research methodologies. It might be something like data collection, and we interpret that data based on whatever we were collecting, the results and the inference of it. So that can be a research development project as well, a research project that develops knowledge that can be used to determine whether a trend exists or a new process will benefit to the society, and so on and so forth. A unique combination for one or more products, services, or a result, that is software application associated with documentation, help desk services, our enhancing attendance management type of solution, so on and so forth. So this is how we normally define a project, and we understood it via couple of examples as well. I believe the thought process is clear as of whatever is required to understand the other aspects of projects now. Let me move on. If you have any difficulty in understanding, please speak out. Please ask the question there and there. Okay, don't worry about my continuation on all those things. Now, a temporary endeavor. As we discussed, we align temporary endeavor as a definition of a project because we are very what you can say define in terms of what we are trying to do here. So product or a project objectives can be achieved. So we have a finite objectives which are to be achieved within finite timeline. So there's a schedule, there's a result, there's objectives. If the objectives will not or cannot be met, we might call the project as a failure. But in terms of PMI, PMP, or the best evolved management practices, we do believe rather than creeping about unsuccessfulness, we like to call it as a knowledge gain exercise. So whatever learning we have, whatever knowledge we have gained, whatever we have experienced, that's our outcome of that project. So we normally don't label it as a failure, we label it as a experience gaining project. If funding is exhausted and no longer available for allocation of project, then only we have to close the project prematurely, and these things do happen in a real practical life. If the need for the project is no longer exist, the customer no longer want the project completed, a change in a strategy or priority ends of the project, the organizational management provides direction to the end of the project. Even there is an enactment for such products not to be sold in that region or created in that region, might we need to close the project prematurely. The human or physical resources no longer available. Let's say you are creating a drawing, artistic project, and the artist might not be available, and so on and so forth. Then only you need to close the project prematurely. The project is terminated for legal cause, as we just discussed, in terms of an enactment has done from your state saying that whatever product you are creating is illegal in that region. So we need to close the project prematurely. So projects are temporary, but their deliverables may exist beyond the end of a project. Now, this is what we call life cycle. Life cycle means start to end. A human life cycle starts with the birth and it's end at its death, right? Similarly, a project needs to start with the requirement gathering, understanding or elaborating the required objectives, building a plan, executing the plan, and whenever the work is completed or is approved from the required party, then we can close the project. But the product, whatever you created, let's say you are creating 500 cars in the month of April 23. Now these 500 cars will be an output of this project, which will be there for other projects, or which can be applied as a requirement to other project as well. But for us, if you choose the project objectives, as I need to create the 500 cars in the month of April 2023. So end of April 2023 might be my target date to complete the project at hand. And that's how the projects are temporary, but their deliverables may exist beyond the end of a project. Projects may produce deliverables for a social, economic, material, environmental nature. For example, project to build a national monument will create a deliverable expected to last for a century. Let's say you are creating St. Louis Arch. You might have, there's a iron arch or an iron structure in St. Louis near the riverfront, which is so tall, which is built in a few, centuries earlier, that the planes can fly through that arch. If you have seen by any way, you could understand what I'm trying to say. So the project of creating a St. Louis Arch leave the St. Louis Arch standing for maintenance throughout centuries nowadays. And that's how the project objectives, after project's objectives completion, the result might last till centuries altogether. Okay, anybody have any questions on temporary nature of endeavor? We are good, right? These are the basics. Once you understand this thing, then planning the project is just collecting some steps and adding it to the plan, and then decomposing those main objectives steps in a progressive manner, so that we can build a definite plan also. Project planning is the most crucial activity. Okay, I'll take it as you don't have any question as of now. Let me move forward. Now, transition. Transition means you are elevating a state. Normally, the objectives can be many, but the major objectives you are, you are uplifting your business value through the time to achieve the results. Let's say you are creating a project of marketing nature where you want to increase your organization's brand value in a given region. For that, you might publish some advertisement in a newspaper. You might put up hoardings on the side of the roads. You might put up hoardings in the malls and all those things. So these are kind of intangible outcome assigned projects, and these type of project also increase this current state to a future state where you have added value to the business, to your satisfactions, and so on and so forth. There could be three activities, there could be four activities, or there could be three assets, be it a tangible, non-tangible, or intangible, non-tangible, not a word, tangible and intangible assets. Now, tangibility of the assets, let's try to understand this tangibility. Tangible in the sense, it's a product object which you can touch and feel with your hand, view with your eyes, and so on and so forth. Intangible means you can't touch it, you can't view it with your naked eye. So you have other means of measuring such intangible assets or intangible outcomes as well. Even in intangible outcome, the project can be executed, project can be objectivized accordingly. I want to increase my company's brand value. I want to increase, or I want to be a famous. That can be also project, but we need to assign a limit to it. So I want to be a famous within next 5 years. Yes, that can be a project. Now here, the end site is a real requirement. So we need to understand the business value, the objective of project, and the timelines we have assigned. It should be finite. You can't say might be in 5 years, might be 6 years. No, no, no. You need to assign a perfect timeline. So let me try for the first 5 year. I might extend afterwards, but I'll wait. If I'm gaining the brand as I required, I'm becoming famous as I required in terms of my objective plan. And that's how this current state to be migrated to the future state has to be understood by the manager itself, so that he or she can align his plan accordingly. And that's how we can plan for the specific, even in terms of intangible result as an outcome as well. Okay, and that's how we keep progressing in terms of planning our project, in terms of initiating our project in a progressive manner. Let me move forward. If you have a questions, please do ask. Okay, business value as the net quantifiable benefit derived from a business endeavor. This is what a kind of in a theoretical language. So business value as a net quantifiable benefit derived from a business endeavor. Whatever you're trying to do as a project objective, we need to quantify the result. We need to make sure the result is also quantified so that we can say the project is a success, project is a failure, either way. The benefit may be tangible, intangible, or both. In business analysis, business value is considered the return in form of elements such as time, money, goods, or intangible return, or something exchange also. So it's like business value. This is referred. This quote is taken from the Business Analyst for Practitioner, a practical practice guide. The business value in a project refers to the benefit that results from a specific project provide to its stakeholder. Like I said, the brand value. Like I said, multiple solution embedded into enhancing attendance management type of project. The benefit from project may be tangible or intangible or both. Examples of tangible elements includes monetary asset, stockholder equity. No, these are uh, yes, sorry. Tangible elements include monetary asset, stockholder equity, utility fixtures, tools, market share, and so on and so forth. These you can directly touch even in terms of monetary assets. So let's say you purchased a plot to create your new factory. That's a monetary asset. You can teach, you can touch, you can feel. A stockholder equity, you might have a number of shares delivered to you physically. Now we have a digital stockholder equity also converted to digital asset, so it's also kind of intangible. But in the older good days, we used to have that paper based shareholder certificate given to you, and that's why they have named in tangible elements. The utility, like I built a metro in my city, and now people can travel from one part of the city to the next part of city more effectively without wasting so much gas in their car, keep waiting in the traffic, and so on and so forth. The fixtures, I create a historical monument like the St. Louis Arch. Tools, I might given some good tools, let's say to acquire a ice scraping machine. That can be a tool used in the really worst snowy days. Then we have a market share. So I have prepare a project to acquire 15% market share in the St. Louis to sell my pen, and I've given 3 days, 3 years times for that, and so on and so forth. So I can build this project, build this business value in relation to my project. Now let's try to understand the intangible elements as well, like goodwill. I want to build a goodwill for my company in the St. Louis market, in a New York market, and so on and so forth. Similarly, with the brand recognition, I want to recognize my pen as a brand or a standard, to be used by many dignitaries, many good people, as an good brand in terms of pen, like Parker pen. Or there could be a public benefit. I might set up a shelter in a cold for a colder days. So all these, homeless people can come to my shelter in the night and spend the night when the temperature really plummet to a great values, which is really detrimental to the human health. I can build a trademark also. So I need to register my trademark within next year or so on, so that I can really understand how I can reap the business value out of that trademark. Strategic alignment and reputation. So these are all type of projects we can consider to build our project on, with a temporary endeavor and a real result in our mind. And that's how we normally work on the business value creation for a given project. Does anybody have any question? Okay, let me move ahead. Now we have defined project. Now let's try to understand what is product and what is the service as also. So here we are looking for a specific product. So product, in the sense here, we are looking for product is an artifact that is produced, which is quantifiable and can either an end item in itself or a component of an item. So you can have a project for building a car, you can have a project for building a car frame in the sense there's a iron frame on which the car is basically built. So you attach the axles, the tires, the body, the engine is normally set on this frame, and so on and so forth. So building a part of an bigger item also can be a project. It can be a software product, like a game you're developing for smartphone, or weather forecasting systems, for weather forecasting solutions you are developing for your region. You might build a building, or you might build a house, you might build a bridge, or a manufacturing process like a pen, car, satellite, tea, coffee. Again, depending upon various consumables, various products can be manufactured as a part of product development project. And then uh, how product and actual projects or solution development differ. Products are basically a simple categorized output we are trying to achieve. In terms of projects or solution supports, we might have a mix and match of products plus services, product for some other products to be other developed products to be integrated in my solution, and so on and so forth. Whenever we build actual plan, you'll understand the difference in terms of difference of product management and a project management. It's not very big, but yes, there's a clear difference. In terms of product, you might have to do the R&D or the market research proactively. In terms of a project, you keep on building product. You can start building product after the requirements are gathered. Some project involve modifying a product something already exists, like enhancing the attendance management for a state farm. State farm had a manual attendance process which has quite dubious or quite challenging. So the management of state farm had decided, like, I need to improve my attendance management process. So whatever they've initiated some requirement gathering process and trying to elaborate the concept to a level where they can start building this thing. So the outcome of requirements were a high level diagram, use case diagram, and couple of other diagrams with couple of requirement list, where we normally say we need to have a solution which should run 24/7. We should be automated to a level where human intervention is the minimalist. Then it should be accessible via smartphone, laptop, palm top, and all those access points. So this way, we might have a combination of product, solution, services together as a project. Some project involves modifying a project, something that already exists. For example, project team may modify existing account receivable software package, or a project team may modify or add an existing building in terms of adding a floor, in terms of redefining the interior or the exterior, a paint, and so on and so forth. I have a very small video for you to have a look at it to understand how to define a product in a vision. So here, the most important thing to understand is basically the distinction between product manager or a project manager. And every organizations have its own way of adopting these, different roles and responsibility for in between project manager and product manager. Now, these policies and processes are normally mentioned in a policy book called quality policy for a given organization. So it can be something like number of project manager reporting to a product manager, or number of product manager might reporting to a project manager, either or. And this is also given in that quality policy. This can be different for different project as well, and these are all mentioned in the quality policies. Now this way we are trying to build a discipline into these various artistic area, where we need to understand, we need to evolve as per the need. But yes, there is a standardization expected, and that's how we normally keep building our standardized policies and procedure for a given organization. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions as of now? We are going to study the life cycle of product as well as project, so please don't worry on that part. There's a bit of difference. It's not much, but we can say around, let's say 10, 15, 20, max 30% difference in terms of product management, in terms of project management, and that's how we learn these things progressively. Okay, let me take you another topic called defining a service. because project management, product management, and service management can be a bit different as they get implemented in a given organizations. We might learn these differences via quality policies and procedure, and there's a normally workshop called induction workshop when you join a new company. So let's try to understand, how do you define a service? A service is an intangible endeavor. In the sense, it might create most of the times intangible results which can be touched, which can be seen, and so on and so forth. Services include terms as a customer service, claim service, utility service, audits, and employee assistance program, employee appraisal scene, and so on and so forth. Again, these are services mostly in a continuous nature, but still we normally apply project thought process to the services to align the resources to create a finite, finite plan for all these given projects. Okay, so this way, what we are trying to do, we are trying to achieve a temporary endeavor with a unique result or a product in a successive manner. A survey, okay, how can a project management to be used to develop and implement a service? Yes, that's what we're going to learn in a progressive manner. We'll see how to build a service management plan as well. Imagine a company that wants to develop and implement a centralized customer service center. It is normally referred as a CSC. So what is centralized customer service center? Where we normally have some support desk. Let's say we have a 6-bench support desk. It means that there are 6 people around the clock or a particular at particular time to help to take either voice call or to help or assist the customer visiting their store. Define requirements for cubicle, phones, computers. These are ongoing services, but we can disintegrate this project into month-wise. So define the requirements of a new cubicles for the month of April. That can be my project, and so on and so forth. Selecting, purchasing, installing a new call management software, a voice support software, or voice center as they normally refer it, where we might have 4 persons sitting around the clock in 3 shifts to assist if anybody calls for any assistance in terms of might be credit card assistant, might be car support assistance, or so on and so forth. Defining new business process for taking calls, escalating issue, and managing call volumes. So we normally align our resources, align our process definition in a way where we can complete the required outcome or result in a progressive manner. Sorry. Training the customer support team can be also service, because you are training some resources to address this customer service setup you're going to build for a particular reasons, right? For a particular unique product, for a particular unique service support, and that's how we're going to learn these things. Now let me play you another good video which is also a few minutes, where we'll try to understand the difference between. So again, similar on a product management and project management differences. Here we are trying to adopt the policy and processes as per the organizational standard, and we follow to those. We're going to learn various plan making for a product management, project management, and service management, so you can understand much better. Just to give you a brief idea, a project management can encompass product management as well as service management, or a solution management as we normally call as an umbrella project, where you normally include project management, service management, solution product management, and the integration management also. So integration management is all about integrating some already made or already delivered product in your project, in your solution. So these words might be used quite loosely, but at the end, or for a person who understands the difference, can mean a different set of values. So for that, every organizations now have something called quality policies, or standardized policies and processes for a given type of project. So a service management can be another type of project, product management can be another type of project, or solution management can be another type of project, and so on and so forth. Again, depending upon the adoption of the policies and procedure for a given organizations, we normally change these things or tweak these definition to a to a bit. but still we're going to understand these things from creating the plan for these things so that you'll understand the difference in depth. Okay, does anybody have any question for me at this moment? I'll take it as a no. Now let's try to understand different level. We've understood the types of project in terms of solution project management, services project management, and so on and so forth. Now let's try to understand and build a hierarchy. Now this is a common processes all across the industry or all across the globe. So there's a projects manager, there's a programs manager, there's a portfolio manager. Now these three things are clearly distinctive in terms of hierarchy. A project manager is handling single project. Program manager handling multiple project, and portfolio managers are handling multiple programs. That's a normal thumb rule. Okay, in very few organizations they might disturb this hierarchy, but normally if you choose a job, a project manager can be handling single project. Program manager might be handling multiple projects, so this can be called as a senior project manager. A portfolio manager can be handling multiple programs, so there could be multiple project in the multiples of 5 or 6 or sometimes 10 projects as well. And portfolio manager are normally called as a delivery manager, business delivery manager, so DO, BO, or even CEO, CTO in a smaller company as well. So they manage portfolios. Or engagement manager also. So engagement manager is also a common name used for portfolio manager, where they are handling more than 5 projects for a given client. So you are engaging a client on a day-to-day basis. So a Guru School might have a portfolio manager or an engagement manager for a state farm, where they are doing 5-6 projects for a state farm on a regular basis. Sometimes if some of the projects gets completed, then the portfolio manager might be moved to the different organizations. Normally portfolio managers are normally trying to address the revenue or the profitability of a company. Program managers are normally handling the escalation of a project managers, and project managers working on the ground with different team of developer, tester, architects, and so on and so forth. Now again, these are all leadership roles. Okay, let's try to understand how we define each of these entities and understand the length and breadth of these job roles. Projects, as we've seen, project is a temporary endeavor to undertake to create a unique product, service, or result. A program is a group of related projects. Related because that's why you are a senior manager in terms of handling similar project. Might be for a client, might be for a different client. So something like banking program manager. So this guy in a given company might handle all banking projects. Or auto ancillary program manager, which normally handling all auto ancillary type of project, and so on and so forth. So program manager can be a domain expert as well, or can be assigned to a given client, can be assigned to a given region also. So there will be Midwest program manager, there will be Eastern program manager, and so on and so forth. A portfolio is a collection of projects, programs, and subsidiary portfolio and operation managed as a group to achieve strategic objective. Now here, rather than managing a certain number of executions on a ground level, we are calling an umbrella activity where we are normally talking about strategic objectives like profitability, like a specific new initiatives for a new technology, new tools, and so on and so forth. In terms of scope, the projects have a defined objectives. Scope is progressively elaborated throughout the project life cycle. In terms of programs, programs have a scope that encompasses the scopes of its program components or a project normally under that umbrella. Programs produces benefit to an organizations by ensuring that the output and the outcome of the program components are delivered in a coordinated and a complementary manner. So one project shouldn't cancel the results or shouldn't negate the result in terms of other projects. And that's why we have a program management to have a coordinated effort. In terms of portfolios, portfolio have an organizational scope that changes with the strategic objectives of an organization. Let's say you are a CEO or CTO of an organization. Now you want to expand your operations in Europe as well. So for that, you might appoint a portfolio manager, saying Europe expansion portfolio manager. And these guys might have a couple of program manager reporting to him, specific for, let's say, Android development. So you have a Android program manager development. So whenever you look at client in a European region, you might find couple of client in UK, you might find couple of client in France, Italy, and so on and so forth. So this way I can have a regional program manager, and I have a senior portfolio manager to expand my portfolio in a particular region. And that's how these strategic objectives are assigned. In terms of change, project manager expect change and implement processes to keep the change managed and controlled. And these are at ground level processes. Project manager is working with the team on day-to-day basis in terms of adopting change, the agility of the way, the flexibility of the project management or product management. In terms of program management, program managers are in a manner accept and adopt the changes as necessary to optimize the delivery of a benefits as the program components deliver outcomes and outputs. Here we are looking for a kind of subset of a projects. So that's why we are trying to adopt policies and processes at a level of a programs, multiple projects together. In terms of portfolio managers, continuously monitor and change the behavior in the broader internal and external environment. Let's say if you move to Europe, in France or Middle East, there's a basically a standardized cultural thing, like you have a longer lunch or longer lunch hours. In France, they normally give 1 hour kind of lunch hour. Anybody who have worked in France or Middle East, you might know. In Middle East, you might have a 2 hour lunch hour as well. So you normally have a food, or you normally pray and then have a food or something like that, or you have a food and take a quick nap as well. So this is how their culture have been evolved. So for a portfolio, like a regional portfolio manager might apply those rules for those given resources working with him. In terms of program manager, he might normally try to understand what type of technological skills I need, what type of specific skill set I need to develop within my organizations. And he might go to the portfolio manager saying, hey, portfolio manager, could you please have these new initiative, these resources trained on Microsoft project, these resources trained on Jira or something like that. And this kind of a proactive strategy discussion can happen between program manager and portfolio manager about adopting to a new technology, new tools, and so on. So does that make sense, or am I confusing you? Could you understand what I'm trying to say in terms of different levels of control and engagement with project manager, program manager, or portfolio manager? Any
makes
questions
sense,
so
sir.
far?
No.
We're good, right? Thank you. Let me move on. In terms of planning, management, and monitoring, let's say planning. A project manager progressively elaborate high-level information into detailed plans through the project life cycle. So it's a singular execution what we are talking about. The project manager normally plan for a singular project. Whenever you have 2 or more projects to handle, you are normally a program manager or a senior project manager, where programs are managed using high-level plans or the escalation that track the interdependency of a progress of a program components. Program plans are also used to guide planning at a component level as well. So I can have 2 projects. One is enhancing attendance management system. Second is leave management system. Third can be parking management system. And I might be handling program manager level for a state farm. So these for these 3 different projects, I might have separate project manager, or I'll just have one project manager managing one project, and rest of the project team might directly report me. These things do happen in a real practical life as well. Depending upon your seniority, the management trust on you to handle all these critical matters like individual project management, program management, and so on and so forth. So this way we progressively improve in our responsible level. Let's start with the project management. Let's say you started a project of enhancing attendance management system for a state farm. After a few weeks or a few months, there's a this product manager comes to you and say, hey, project manager, I want to have a leave management system also integrated with these. And for this, we might need to get some data from our SAP. And this is a normal progression. So you are starting with 2 projects now. So you have one project, enhancing attendance management solution, and the leave management solution from a State Farm. This way, you become a program manager. So for many projects, you can be a program manager. So programs are managed using high-level plans that track the interdependencies of a progress of a program component or a solution component, you might say. Program plans are also used to guide the planning at a component level. So when to deliver what, how these components are being sequenced in development and deliveries, and so on. So in terms of portfolio, portfolio managers are create and maintain necessary processes and communications relative to the aggregate portfolio. So here we are talking about the total engagement of a development partner with a client. So portfolio manager might try to build the strategic outcome, strategic, planning, like all these 4 projects might have to get completed before such and such time. Do we need to add more resources? What type of resources do we need? Do we need to get a do we need to get a trainer from outside, or could some of the senior subject matter expert might train these teams, and so on and so forth. So this way I'll basically try to build a complete portfolio, like for all attendance management type of project can be given to one portfolio manager. So he might handle attendance management system for State Farm, attendance management system for others as well. So this is a kind of recursive progressions we might have in our career. Normally this might take few years for moving to a project managers to a program manager, and then few years from program manager to the portfolio manager. Again, this all depends on the organizational quality policies and processes as they adopted. Okay, so quality policy and processes is a kind of crucial terminology in terms of all these management implementation at a ground level. Now let's try to understand from a management perspectives. Project manager normally manage a singular project and try to meet the project objectives. In a program management, programs are managed by the program manager, who ensure that the program benefits are delivered as expected. This can be sharing resources between teams, sharing the overall even space, time, shifts, and all those things within the particular teams as well. Program managers managed by programs are managed by program managers, who ensure program benefits are delivered as expected by coordinating the activities of a program components. When it comes to a portfolio manager, portfolio managers may coordinate portfolio management staff, project staff that may have reporting responsibilities into an aggregate portfolio. So here we are talking about the total portfolio. So there could be 5, 6, 10 different projects handled by a project manager, or there could be 5, 6 project manager reporting to a program manager, and there could be 5, 6 program manager reporting to the portfolio manager. And this is how we normally have our career progression also. In terms of monitoring, project managers monitor and control the work of producing product, services, results of a project undertaken to produce. So project manager can be a solution manager, where we are building solutions with a product, service, and a mix and match of these. In terms of program managers monitor the progress of a program components to ensure the overall goals, schedules, budgets, and benefit of a program will be made. So program manager is a kind of senior persons who are basically reported by quite a few project managers. So he normally try to align in terms of the benefits of a program. In terms of a portfolio managers, they monitor strategic changes and aggregate resource allocations, performance results, and risk of portfolios. So portfolio managers are more in a superlative layer, where they try to address how we can get benefit throughout the project, programs, all together jointly. And this is how the succession happens. This is how the progression happens in terms of a elevation from a project level to program level to a portfolio level. Then success. The success is measured in terms of projects So if a project is success, the program can be a success. If programs are successful, then only portfolio is successful. So we need to understand the last level components in the hierarchy to understand the success. Success is measured by the product and project quality, timelines, budget, compliance, degree of customer satisfaction as well. In terms of a program success is measured by the program's ability to deliver its intended benefits to an organization. So the profitability layer, the wastages, the lean management, and all those things. And by the program's efficiency and effectiveness in delivering those benefits. So how many projects are on time, on delivery, on budget, and so on and so forth. Then this in portfolio, the success is measured in terms of the aggregate investment performance and benefit realization to the portfolio. So we talk about ROI, return on investment, we talk about the profitability, we talk about the timeliness or the time slippage, and so on and so forth. So these are the few things we need to understand in terms of how we are basically getting promoted, how we are getting moving up the ladder as well. That's why I kept this table. Okay, let me share this presentation with you also after our class so that you can understand and think it through how the career progression happens for a given project manager as well. Does that make sense? Anybody have any confusion, questions at this point? Okay, I'll take it as a no. If you have any questions, confusion, please speak up. Okay, thank you. Now let's try to understand what we're going to follow here. We are going to use PMbook 6 and with this standardized notation to understand and read into the PMbook 6, and we'll understand the 10 knowledge area in a successive manner. Okay, in terms of management, nothing is sequential. You might start with the risk management first, requirement management first, and then you define scope, schedule, cost. But normally when you look at the theoretical value of it, we'll have a sequence. So there are 10 knowledge area in terms of PMI PMP understanding, and these are the best evolved thought processes in terms of understanding the art of project management, program management, portfolio management, product management, service management, and so on and so forth. So for that we might use these symbols, and it's a pretty simple symbols like starting a project. So the phase normally end by a diamond shape kind of scenario. Then the next phase start. We might have a logical swim lanes as we normally call it. Okay, and normally these 10 knowledge area further divided into 49 process group. This is PMbook 6 I'm talking about. In now they are in a final stage of PMbook 7 as well. So might be by our session end, we might start on PMbook 7 as well. Okay, we're trying to understand what are things changed from PMbook 6 to PMbook 7. But right now, let's concentrate on PMbook 6. I'll give you a link to download PMbook 6 as well, so that you can start studying with me, you can start reading with me. I also have an MP3 files created. I'll share it via Google Drive, which you can listen to even if you're not very fond of reading. Okay, so I'm trying to help you out in terms of understanding these project management policies and processes better day by day. And the way we do it by sequencing these knowledge area one after the another. And this is how the symbol says we work. Please don't stress yourself out. We will learn this symbol on fly as well. Okay. Now there are 10 knowledge area. There are 5 process groups and 49 processes. So the key is phase gate is a diamond shape. Project phase is a rectangular thing. Potential is by up arrow key, and timelines are by a bar graph which is moving from right to left. Then in terms of PM processes, we have project initiation processes, project planning processes, project execution processes, project monitoring and controlling processes, and project closing processes. So these are 5 different processes we normally categorize. All the processes are. Now the processes are we consider in terms of inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs. We have seen this thing in the BA book as well, BA book as well, right? So for that matter, we'll adopt to the similar conventions. Again, we will learn these on fly also, so please don't stress out yourself. So when you talk about these life cycles, right? So life cycle, when you talk about a project life cycle normally start with the needs or a requirement gathering. We build a business case, we build a high level diagram, we build some benefit management plan like ROI, like the profitability of a given project, and so on and so forth. This is what you can say a pre work for a starting a project. So when you start a project, you normally create a project charter or a SOW or something like that. Again, depending upon your organizational policies and processes, we choose to build one or few documents. But the important documents, as agility believe in reducing number of documentation, and that's why we normally have at least contractual obligation in terms of statement of work, SOW, or a project charter to be referred by the project management team. And based on project charter, we normally build a project management plan where we normally create the tasks activity to be planned from day to day, number of resources associated with that work item, activities, and so on and so forth. And then we normally build a timeline for each and every person to work on the given task, activities, work items, and so on and so forth. And then after completing these tasks, they might assign to the new task, new work item or activities to be completed, and so on and so forth. The project is normally a result of all such activity work items defined or assigned to different resources coming together, completing them, including the quality control and all, and then delivering it to the client. That's a project timeline normally talk about. These are all generic phases. So there is a start of a project phase, there's a organizations and preparation kind of project phase, there's a carrying out the work or the development and the quality control type of phase, and there's a completing project of a phase where we normally get a completion certificate from a client in terms of satisfaction, in terms of understanding whatever project have been delivered, the satisfaction of it, is it complete in your according to your policies and processes, and so on and so forth. And that's where the project gets completed, the developments get completed, or the support warranty starts. And that's how what the total span of a work for a given project manager. And this is a really important thing to understand the complete scope of it, a complete understanding of it in terms of from start to end for a given project manager. Does that make sense? Anybody have any confusion? Anybody have any question for me at this moment? Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, yes.
There's no question as of now. Let me move on. Now, how do you measure a success? Now, success failure is a kind of industry related, thing where we normally try to, align our success factors with a defined results. Normally, all organizations have their own policies and processes to actually label a success or a failure. And normally, we don't label failure as we just discussed. We normally call it as an experience gaining sessions or experience gaining endeavor. Project stakeholder may have different ideas as to what the successful completion of a project will look like and which factors are the most important to them. It is critical to clearly document the project objectives and to select objectives that are measurable. This is really important. This is what we are trying to understand, the matrices definition or the objective definitions. For a given project, there could be one single main objective. I'm talking about singular execution, and there could be multiple sub-objectives also. So our project should be aligned with the main objective at all times. You can't bifurcate from the main objective. You might add sub-objectives which are not contradictory to the main objective. And this is how we build our progressive project management plan. So the additions are normally a kind of supporting nature to the main objectives. If the additions are detrimental to the project's main objective, we shouldn't add such. And that's as simple as definition in terms of achieving the right objectives or building the right correct objective for a given requirement for a given project as to be an end result expected. Three questions are the key stakeholders and project managers should answer are, what does success look like for this project? So when you talk about attendance management system, the attendance management system has to be uplifted to the new 24 by 7 centralized database system, right? How will the success be measured? If they've given you a performance criteria, the attendance of an employee should be completed within 20 seconds. So that can be a success measure. If my attendance is not getting noted within 20 seconds, I have not successfully completed that project. I might need to do it differently. I might need to have some special, development to make it complete. What factors may impact success, are detrimental to success, and I should avoid all such factors in an evolutionary manner. And that's why we have a project review, project audit in a periodic way to address all such supporting status or detrimental status or to the success or a project objectives in a continuous manner. Okay, any questions so far on success measures? These are kind of KRAs, as we normally call key result area for a given project manager. The project success measure in terms of a numeric way to measure, and this is what we call mature project management or evolved project management, and this is what we normally referred as a key numeric matrices to be tracked for a project in terms of its success measures. Project success may include additional criteria linked to the organizational strategy and to deliver business results. These projects objectives may include but are not limited to these few items. Let's consider completing the project benefit management plan. Whatever benefit you have already aligned to, you have already decided to, should be met, right? So we should work towards completing those project benefits objectives. Meeting the agreed upon financial measures documented in a business case. These business financial measures can be, but not limited to, net present value. Whatever you developed and given to your client, what is this net present value? Is it in line with the profitability or the ROI calculations? The return on investment is basically how much I have invested, how much I should get back from it in terms of the, might be business value increment, might be my employment efficiency, might be in terms of reducing the cost, and so on and so forth. Even cost reduction can be one of the success measure where you try to apply some sort of a lean management principle. So lean management talking about aligning our thought process for a given reduction, cost reduction type of thought process throughout our organization. Like the attendance management enhancement, we are implementing that solution to save a couple of minutes from each and every employee's attendance recording process. And that's how overall, if I look at so many employees, so many minutes have saved, so many advantageous employee hours I'm getting within a week's time, within a month's time, and so on and so forth. So that can be my ROI as well. Then internal rate of return, how much internal profitably I can achieve with these new progressive policy and procedure improvements, and so on and so forth. Again, depending upon the organizational thought processes, there could be some different measures, there could be some different KRAs aligned or KRAs assigned to a given project manager for these specific items, and these are all numeric calculation. We will learn quite a few of these while building the project matrices as well as a key result area for a given project. Payback period. So when the payback starts, like if I'm making pens, I'm making, let's say, 1000 pens per month, but for the first 1 month or so, the pen might not leave my factory. So whenever I deliver these pens to this distributor, I might start getting some advance payment. Might be 1 month down the line, I might get the remaining payment for all the pens I've sold in a given area. And that's how I need to build this payback period also, because every monetary assets get frozen, have some depreciated financial value attached to it. Same benefits to cost ratio. How much benefits are gained, how much cost have been appreciated, and so on and so forth. Meeting business case non-financial objectives like the brand, the strategic market capture, or the percentile market captures, and so on and so forth. We're going to learn all these things while trying to accept the results or trying to accept the definition of completion also. This is called as definition of done in Agile. Wherever the client says, okay, this delivery is accepted and I find it completed in its sense, so it's called definition of done. And we're going to learn this thing in Agile thought process as well. Completing movement of an organization from its current state to the desired future state. So this is like improving your state as well. Fulfilling contract terms and conditions, like the performance measures, like the different requirements mentioned in terms of non-functional requirement as well. Meeting organizational strategy goals. So here we are trying to understand how we are improving in terms of organic growth and so on and so forth as well. Achieving stakeholder satisfaction. So stakeholder, see, in terms of software project, the satisfaction carries more weight, because the way you normally satisfy your customer, you normally get the future work, right? And that's why the satisfaction is at paramount value for a given software organizations whenever they deliver the product support services. In terms of earn value management, this is a new modern concept adopted or invented, as we might say, by PMI institutes, project management institutes, with the help of Carnegie Mellon Management Institute. They developed a thought process called earn value management. Whatever you earn is your progress. So whatever you delivered, this doesn't mean payment received, but whatever you deliver and you got a certificate of completion, that's your earned value. So how much you've delivered, let's say in between a project, let's say you are in a half of a project and you just delivered 40% of the goods as we planned. So we are delayed, right? So the earn value management should be in a negative value. We try to make earn value management always positive. We shouldn't take it to the negative value, and we'll learn all these by formulas as well. So that how do you calculate this earn value management? And this is normally referred as a EMV, and most favorite question of quite a few interviewers. They normally ask you, what do you understand by earn value management? And you need to explain them it. We have a complete session for earn value management and the calculation as well. So please don't worry on that part as well. We learn in detail all these KRAs and success measures. Acceptable customer end user adoption. And this is what we call definition of done, we just discussed. Integration of deliverables into organizational operating environment. Let's say you are delivering give me a minute, please. Ow. Yeah, pardon me for that. So here we are talking about delivering a product support solution to an organization, but it's not fitting into the organizations, or the user couldn't use it to its maximum value. So whose fault it is? It is basically the development organizations who have not studied something called technical portfolio. What is a technical portfolio? Let's say you are developing a solution for State Farm. They are using SAP, they are using Linux as their normal computers and all those things. So your solution so fit to that whatever environment you are delivering it, and that's the kind of onus on the development organization. And for that we need to understand all these integration and fitment values as well. It's not like that you sold the pen. If the person is looking for a blue pen, you should sell him blue pen, not the black or the red, right? Now depending upon the requirement, fitment or the integration of deliverables into organizational operating environment is also kind of success factor for many. And now it's being analyzed into a good amount of depth, achieving agree upon quality of delivery as well. And there are many engagements which go into indefinite timeline due to such change in the what you can say customization aspects, or the aesthetic aspects of various website products solution supports as well. And that's a kind of good thing for a development organization, because there is a money coming. The whatever you do in terms of continuous support or continuous maintenance of that product, you might get a revenue model built out of it. So you might have something like time and material. So n number of resources working for n number of hours, this much is to be billed to the client, and so on and so forth. And this model is evolved to such a good level in North America. We have a good number of enhancing or maintenance kind of organizations. They don't develop any product solution support, but they do enhance and support these project products already developed, and they are really good profit making organizations, meeting governance criteria. In terms of state legal framework enhancement, you might need to adopt new policies and procedure to adopt certain services. So these changes in service can be a project for a good technical company. Achieving other agreed upon success measure criteria like process throughput. Now I'm making 1,000 phone pens per I am manufacturing 1,000 pens per month. I might want to manufacture 3,000 pens per month, because my what I can say, demand in market is really improving, increasing. So I can basically do better business throughput. So I need better machines. I might need multiple machines as well. And of course, the support contract do increases in that multiple. And this is how we normally measure our success. We do business to earn profit, right? At the end of it. So whenever you're trying to gain profit, you might need to basically build a project, build a framework that you keep getting these monetary benefits months after months, year after year. Be it something like stock options. You choose a stock which is profitable. So if you invest, let's say $500, you should get $2-3 per month at least. And there are standard benchmark like that. And that's how we normally keep measuring our success even in our day-to-day life. So success measures are a really important factor for everybody. Okay, success and satisfaction. And this balance is really a kind of very useful, values in our day-to-day life as well. Does anybody have any questions at this moment? I can explain. Do you want me to explain anything in depth? Here we are defining projects, right? So this shouldn't be a me keep speaking all the time. You should also share your thought processes. You should also share your life experience as well, and this way we can do better progressively. Okay.
Panditji, can you please elaborate a little bit on process throughput?
Yes, sir. Again, no problem. Normally, what we do specifically in manufacturing processes, you have set up your manufacturing plant as a startup to achieve certain results. We took example of pen. Let's take an example of cars. Let's say you created a new car company. You are importing engine from some place, class the cars. Let's say you are starting new electrical car manufacturing setup in St. Louis. Now here what you are doing, you are importing the motor from some company. Pardon me, you are procuring motor from some company, you are procuring wheels from other, you are procuring the car body parts like the frame, the door, the windshield from others. And this way you normally assemble car. You call it car manufacturing, but actually it's a car assembly, right? So you assemble a car and you supply it to the market. In the first month, I have assembled, let's say 5 car, and I have supplied to the market. And the market have consumed that, they got sold within a month's time or 2 months time, and you created another 5 cars or 10 cars during that time, and you normally supply to the markets. If the demand is increasing, if the throughput is increasing, I might increase the manufacturing process. If the car sale is a failure, I couldn't sell at a profitability value, I might stop the throughput, I might stop the process of building cars.
Gotcha.
In that way, we might need to close the project. So my project can be selling 200 cars in a given region, in a given time, in a year's time. But still, the way I started, I might not be good, but I still go on creating these 2000 car for a year and wait for its sale. Again, depending upon an individual businessman or the success factor he have applied to a project, this is really make and break situation. So you need to understand how much throughput I want in terms of manufacturing and supply. Is the demand there, or my product is likable, not likable, and all those things come at play here. And that's why these throughput actually build profitability. If the throughput is good, you are more profitable. Even there is a concept called shelf life, as we normally talk in supermarket area. Shelf life is, there are items which are highly perishable. They might go bad in couple of hours. There are items who might be long lasting, like they might be can be there on the shelf for a week's time or for a month's time. Let's take an example. Perishable throughput, we're talking about milk, curd, ice cream. These are perishable. These might go bad in few hours. When you talk about vegetables like cabbage, flour, beans, or any fruits like apple, oranges, these might go bad in a week's time or a few weeks time, depending upon the product you choose as a throughput. So whatever gets bad on your shelf is normally has to throw it away, and the cost is normally borne by the supermarket. So that's why the process throughput is a really important concept for all these super malls, or the Walmarts, the Sam's Club, and the Kmarts of the companies. And for that, we normally have a new success measure in terms of shelf life. And normally, whenever you supply these product, specifically consumables, there's a shelf life attached to every product. And we need to understand how these process throughputs are crucial for profitability, the ROIs, and all the other financial KRAs what we just discussed. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
And this is really important because we're going to build our process model based on these requirements, these KRAs. Okay? Chalo, great. Thank you. Let me move on.
You're welcome.
Now let's try to understand the influences as well. Okay, and there are two concepts as we discussed even in BA sessions, EEFs and OPS, and we'll understand that thing right now. We might go to this PMbook 6 chapter 2, the environment in which the projects operate. So environments in which we manufacture certain thing, we enhance something, we build or support something, and there are these influences which play a greater part. So there are external and internal influence, and there are internal this thing. So EEFs are basically external influence, mostly wherever you work in terms of organizations. There are certain influence from outside playing a part on your efficiency in terms of your project execution. Something like a snowstorm, you can't go to the office, right? So there's a decrease in efficiency overall for the project throughput. These are what we call external factors. There are some enactment by the state saying you can't do this thing, or a road is closed and you might have to drive 10 minutes more every day to the office. And this is the kind of external factors which do influence your project in a negative manner. There could be really good season in terms of good spring and really great temperature to work. So the efficiency might get increased, and that way positive factors of your external, which are not in the control of organization but are acted from external, this thing external out of the company type of influences. Then we have internal influences. These are like corona pandemic means the if the employees can't work or employees can't come to organize to the office, there's a decrease in efficiency. You might say work from home is a blessing, but to an organizational output, if the output is not up to mark, we might losing some employee hour, we might losing some professional throughput processes. And that's why these things are to be considered as an influence, positive or negative. And then there are something called internal operating factors. These are called internal OPAs. EEFs are external environmental factors. OPAs are organizational process assets. Okay, so as the name suggests, these are processes, policies, and procedures I make. So something like flexible flexi time hours, and these are adopted by quite a few American organizations to make sure their employees are happy with that. What is flexi hours? You normally select some your hours in the office from such time to such time. So might be I used to go to office at 6 a.m. in the morning till let's say 3 p.m. in the afternoon. and then I go to home, I play some tennis, I do swimming and blah 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 thing. So I'm living my life. That's how I segregate it. Depending upon every personal attributes, you might go late in the office, let's say 10:30 or 11, and you might stay in the office with whatever hours the organizations have defined in their policy book. Now, these are to make your employees happy, more content in their work they do it for the organization. Even corporate knowledge base, you normally archive all the knowledge we've learned after executing the project, and this is what we call knowledge base. These are kind of older thought processes we have applied and we got successful. We might have failures, and we try to understand what is the best way to do things. What is the best way to address the employee parking? What is the best way to have one department on a particular floor? So you might have HR on the top floor. You might have manufacturing or production at the ground level. And this basically gives a complete thought process of how the throughput can be increased, how the efficiency can be increased by such alignments. And that's how there are certain policies and procedure adoptions by these individuals at a ground level. Are these thought processes making any sense to you? Could you understand what I'm trying to say here? The EEFs and OPAs?
Perfect. Yes, yes, yes.
Definitely. If you have anything, do let me know, okay? And we can discuss it more. Now let's stop here today. We are we are at around 11 o'clock already. So let me share this presentation with you and some few slides which we're going to learn in our next session. Okay, I'll share this much thing, and where we'll try to understand how we can prepare ourselves to start with this knowledge management area. Okay, the first knowledge management area is the integration management. We'll look at it. Let me share some some of these slides so you can start reading slides, and then be ready for the discussions in terms of you have any contradiction of thought process and any challenge in understanding. Do let me know. I'll be happy to address that as well. Okay, do you have any question for me at this moment? Anyone?
No, Panditji.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Time.
Good night.
Have a good night. Have a good new year. We are
Happy Ugadi.
Here tomorrow.
Happy
So happy
Ugadi.
Padwa. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Good night.
You're welcome.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.